Something's happening. I can hear something.
I don't hear anything.
We all look confused on the stream. But we'll just kick it out. We'll just kick it off. We'll just do it. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the official PlayStation podcast of the KT Data Network. We are all together, including Drew, who's upstairs. We are the LittleBigKast. This is episode 55, guys, 55? And that's a lot of numbers. That's a lot.
I know.
I'm pretty excited to be here today. We got a bunch of people in chat that are keeping it exciting and fun, and I'm just excited to be here and talk with you guys. So, my name, first of all, we'll do introductions. My name is Jeff Hawks. I'm just happy to be here, as I mentioned earlier. The person who is scrambling around the set is none other than the super speedy, illustrious, beautiful, sexy
Double D cup,
Mr. Drew Tyler. Additionally, he's not the only sexy body here today.
That's true.
With us, as always, Miss Robin Hazlett.
Hola.
And the powerful intern herself.
What can I say?
Yes.
Rachel Hernandez.
Yes.
So
Intern and awesome.
This has been a good week, guys. Has it been a good week for everybody else?
I had a birthday, I think that's pretty good.
Other than the ridiculous amount of rain
I know.
Oh,
that we have been experiencing. And what's funny is I thought we had it bad until I over the last couple days have kind of followed what's been happening in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been pretty wild.
Yep.
Like 11 inches in an hour.
One of my best
Is that
friends
a thing?
got stuck in the New Orleans airport because the plane couldn't land in Houston.
Oh my.
They got on the plane and they're like, lol, nope. And then they backed up and it said unload.
Wow. It's
Gotcha.
I heard a story that apparently is it the Dallas Mavericks are in the NBA playoffs? The NFL playoffs. I'm retarded and I don't know sports. But apparently they locked everyone down in the arena that the team was playing in, and they didn't let anybody leave because it was too dangerous to leave. Which I thought was pretty crazy.
I could see
Maybe
that.
it was the Spurs. Maybe it was the Spurs.
I can
arena.
just the soft pretzels that were consumed at that point.
So good.
Just soft pretzel and
Soft
beers
pretzels.
for days. Everybody was just in there getting fat, yeasty. Just nice and
So much
delish.
yeast.
So anyway, typically for the beginning of every show, we kind of go through a rundown of what we've been doing. And I don't know. Who do you guys want to start with?
Rachel.
Okay.
I am.
Good. I got some
What have you
stuff.
been doing, Rachel?
So, although this is a PlayStation podcast, we very much play other types of video games.
We
so
do.
We are well-rounded.
I'm a Nintendo type of gal. Always have been. Okay. So
Blasphemy.
playing the DS. I got friend to also buy a DS. So I worked on Memorial Day weekend, except on Memorial Day I was not working. So we were literally playing Pokemon for I think 7 hours solid, like alternating the charger cord, like you get it now. Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
Wow.
Glad to say he beat the Elite Four,
Wow.
but I beat his team with my team,
Had a girl.
and that's all that matters.
That's all that
Yep.
matters.
So it was a great weekend.
So proud.
I know. Then we went outside and went longboarding here on campus while no one was here, and that's a really hilly.
That's the best.
Isn't it cool?
Campus is actually a pretty dang good place to skate.
Nobody
Yeah.
chased you down. Nobody came after you.
No one chased us down, which is
deal.
a bummer. I know someone who got a ticket here on campus for being on their longboard, so we were just cruising. That was a lot of fun. And then I worked, and then video game wise, lots of Pokemon, Sapphire, Alpha Sapphire. And then I played Road Not Taken. I didn't want to play the Road Not Taken anymore, so I played the pre-sequel, and I didn't want to play the pre-sequel anymore, so I got off my couch and I bought The Witcher 3. So that is
Good girl.
I know.
You got off
So-
your couch.
I
Way to
know.
go.
I was proud.
Wow. It's a big
Yeah,
week.
we're all asking Rachel like, so why are you all sweaty like coming in here? I walked.
It's like there were stirs involved.
It's a big day.
So
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
It's my weeks.
It's good. You can be proud of that.
Excellent.
Hey, I know.
So have you started? I mean, how far are you into The Witcher?
I just got over the tutorial, so I just kind of learned.
Because The Witcher is like the big thing right now.
Yeah, can I
right?
say though, going from pre-sequel to Witcher was not a thing. It told me, it told me in the little tiny text that you couldn't fall damage. There was fall damage, but I was like, let's check it out. So I fell off like a little ladder.
Right,
It didn't seem that big. But I died
twisted my
because of
ankle.
it.
I'm dead.
My experience,
life. It's
my
hard.
experience in Witcher so far has been like trying to just figure out how to keep my life. Like, I'm very unfamiliar with like alchemy in the Witcher world, and apparently you create a potion, and then every time you meditate, those potions are refilled. Did you guys know that?
If you have the,
When did you learn that?
If you have the stuff, it was one of the little bleeps as you're like waiting to
There's
load.
way too many tutorials.
I was like,
I missed that, so I'm gonna have to find a tutorial online. Anyway, sorry I interrupted you because that's what I do, and I give it back to you.
And that's all. And that's that. So it's a little bit of
Washes her
it's an
hands.
alternative. It's jumping off the moon to falling off a ladder and dying. Quite a transition.
that is a big difference.
A little bit, but I'm excited to play it, and that's what I'll be doing later.
Very cool.
It's a great story. It's a fun story.
Did your camera come yet?
Nope, today by 8 p.m.
Today?
By 8 p.m.
By 8 p.m.
It'll be there when you get home.
I think so.
Unless it got stolen.
No. Aww.
That does happen.
Has that happened to any of you guys before?
Oh, yeah.
I've never had anything
Really?
stolen that was delivered.
I had a text about 2 years ago, right around Christmas time. We got a text from the new whole neighborhood bulletin. It was just like, don't let any of your packages stay on your doorsteps, because 4 neighbors had
Wow.
the UPS truck was
Whoa.
coming through, and there was a small
Whoa.
green compact car trailing
Just
it,
following
and
it.
it'd stop and run up and grab.
That's hilarious.
so close that it was uncannily poor.
That's
Wow,
crazy.
that's ridiculous.
And
That's
no
what I
one
get
thought,
for-
the
It's
driver
like,
wasn't
I
like,
wonder why this thing is following me.
this person following me keeps jumping out of their car. And
coincidence.
what a friendly guy. He doesn't, he's going to go pick up their packages and give them to them later. That's very thoughtful of him.
I want to be Santa.
That's
Come on.
That's bizarre.
But I personally haven't had anything taken lately.
That's nice. Drew, what have you been doing?
I had a really lax nothing week, right? I mean, it was Memorial, but we didn't really go anywhere to do anything.
Because
We
it
had
was
a little-
raining like freaking
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't know if we had plans anyway, but we had a little dinner lunch with in-laws, and that was about it. I haven't really done much other than gaming, which of course that's the
Life.
fun. That's life. So that was fun. Played lots of Witcher. So not only did I play lots of Witcher, I got stuck several nights in a row in one spot. So it was 2 or 3 nights where I played 45 minutes trying to kill the race because I wanted to drive the story. In fact, one of the first nights I played, I was so excited because I killed the Griffin before anybody else, and you guys have been playing an hour or two more than me. And I was like, but I got the Griffin first, yay! And then really quickly in the story, it just halted because I got stuck with the race because I wasn't leveled up enough. So
Yeah.
last night I went and had to go chase another side thing about a witch in a dirty witch in a hot tub. That's a hot one. Yeah, go see this old. Have you played that one?
The dirty hot tub
The
witch.
dirty hot tub witch.
Nope.
You go and you talk to her.
The dirty hot.
You go and you
hot
talk
tub
to her,
witch.
and she's supposed to have information about Sirius. You go and talk to her, and she just climbs out of the hot tub, and so it's an adultish moment, I guess, where she just steps out of the tub and tells you to turn around. But I still see both me, Geralt, and her. And anyway, then I went and saved them. We're friends and stuff. Nothing happened. It was just visual. Anyway, you know what I
It
mean.
happened.
like-
I think
It was a refreshing
witch in a
moment
hot
after
tub.
chasing wraiths for 3 days straight. So it was good. But now I'm strong enough that I went back and have chased the fighting the fetus part. That's the one that held me up. Yeah, it's.
Fight the
I
fetus.
can't
story.
wait to play this
It is.
I
game.
love the story. I love how it's all intertwined. Even
Yeah.
when you like I saved a guy out of a burning building, and then after I'd done side quests and come back to the main story quest, it did this short little cutscene where he introduced himself and he's like, "Hey, you recognize me? I'm the one that you saved," and he gives you some money and says thank you.
And I think that's awesome.
Cool.
That to me
Tying it
is
together.
that to me is when a game becomes much bigger than your average game, because you
intertwining.
didn't have to do that. And I don't remember if it was on this podcast or Rachel and I actually hosted our own kind of crappy
Good times.
video game podcast
Anything.
We were young.
several years ago.
We were young.
And I feel
like a year ago.
I feel like when we were doing that together, that was when I talked about this. But in Skyrim, there's a mission where you're cruising along. It wasn't even a mission. I just stumbled across this dude that had a broken down cart in Skyrim in the middle of nowhere. I was walking down a path, and this dude's like, "Hey, I need your help." And so I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll talk to this dude and see what's up." So this guy had a broken down cart and he couldn't move, and he had asked this farmer that was right next to him for help to get his cart patched up, and he had said no. So I go and talk to the farmer, and he's like, he seems really creepy to me. I'm not going to help him out. And I was like, you should probably just help him, because I'm always the nice guy
You're
in the
the nice
game.
guy,
I have
yeah.
a hard time being the
Same,
bad guy in the
same.
game. So I start kind of trying to get this help facilitated between the two, and as I'm working through it, I finally get the farmer to help. We get the dowels or whatever, and we fix his cart, and the dude just starts walking away. fast forward like 40 hours. I have started working on the Dark Brotherhood campaign, which is like I don't know if anyone out there listening is not familiar with it. The Dark Brotherhood is like this assassins guild. They're the bad guys in the game. And they've always been like one of my favorite guilds in the Elder Scrolls series. So I'm working through their quests, and all of a sudden, this dude that I helped is there. And he's like, I would have never made it if you hadn't helped me. And he was transporting the corpse of their deity, the Night Mother. And so I helped him, and I was rewarded for it. Literally like 40 hours earlier in the game, I had helped him fix the cart that was transporting the corpse of their deity.
That's some cool
and I was like, that is freaking so rad. Like, I paused the game, and I was just like, my mind is blown. Like, that happened 40 hours ago. That's so cool.
People, I'm done being a dick. I'm gonna help people from here on out.
So long story short,
I can't be mean in games.
Long story short, like that kind of stuff is for me what absolutely makes a game. Like those little things that add realism to a game, I really, really appreciate.
Agreed.
And again, I interrupted you, so feel free to pick up where you left off.
We hit our time limit for intros. We're done. No, I did. That was it. Watch the rain. The end.
I watched the
But I do have lots of hummingbirds at my house. That's hot. That's kind of cool. We've named them all. It's kind of fun. There's one that's a really red like throat neck. He's redneck, so we call him Billy. We call him Billy Joe. Billy Bob or something like that. Then we have Snow, and she's got like just all white, but she's tiny and petite. And then Charlie's kind of a bigger hummingbird with just green and white. I love.
Do they have an interesting colored throat neck?
No. The throat neck's all white, but only the one that has the red. Like anyway, love it. I love birds.
Miss Robin.
Yes. So since we last stopped in, I have crossed into my 3rd decade. Heck yeah.
Wow.
Earned every single year. It's like, oh, now you need to say like you're 20 something. I'm like, no, I'm 30. I've earned every single year of this.
I feel like turning 26 was harder than turning 30.
What,
Really?
Yeah, when I
Talking
turned
about real
26, I was like, wow, dang.
I was wondering if you were talking about Witcher. I
I'm
was like,
older than
years.
25 now. That was like weird for me. I don't know why.
Do you feel different? Was it like an overnight? I'm 30.
No, I went to Build-A-Bear, I got Toothless. My small child got me Toothless, and got her to like do the whole stuffing of said Toothless, and then went to Chuck E. Cheese.
Nice.
This is good. This is a party.
And she was my champion. Like, honey, here's the money that I would like to spend. You must go and collect the tickets. We got like over 600 tickets. It was fantastic. She came back with like the tickets trailing behind her, like just dragging them. It was yay.
That's awesome.
I've trained her well.
That's awesome.
Oh, and I streamed for the very first time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was mildly terrifying, but I was okay. I survived.
I'm glad you survived.
Yes, I plan on doing it more. Like, I'm kind of like, do I want to go stream? Do I want to just like play alone, or do I want to play with people? So trying to get that.
It's
going.
fun. It's different, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you say like get on the stream, and then nobody joins you on the stream, and you're like there with like one. And you don't know if that's your one or somebody else's one, and then you're talking to it, but you're not sure if somebody. And then you wonder if you're crazy. But that's still fun.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, and your young ones had jumped on. That was so fun playing Race the Sun.
With my little girls.
It was like. And it was kind of, it was like half babysitting through the camera. It's like they know that someone is watching through that camera, and they know that this person will text Drew if they start acting up.
That's right. I'm in the kitchen
Drew,
making grilled
control
cheese sandwiches, and yeah, that was good. That was a good time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So on my end, so I mean, as always, Destiny, right? I hit level 34.
It's a big step.
Pretty happy
It's a
about
big
that.
step, yeah.
I was 2 days behind KT, which upsets me greatly.
Yes.
KT hit 34 a little bit earlier in the week, and that bothered me. So I am now
Whatever
34 as well. That's life, and I'm not at all bitter, KT. Anyway, I'm loving House of Wolves. I think Destiny and the team over at Bungie that's working on Destiny, I think they knocked it out of the park. And I think anyone in chat that plays Destiny, I know Methane Cuddles is in there. It seems like everyone that's still playing is really, really liking the House of Wolves changes. The fact that you can kind of basically now you can go in and you can actually exchange materials that you weren't using. So like for the last 6 months, I haven't used a single Ascendant shard or a piece of Ascendant energy. They've just been sitting there accumulating every time I run a Vault of Glass. They're irrelevant because all of the last DLC, the Crota's End DLC, made them irrelevant because there were new types of materials. And now I can go in, I can turn them all in for motes of light, and for strange coins, which
Things that matter even by stuff.
which are things that you need. And so I spent 200 motes of light on helmet engrams from Zur over the weekend. Got 2 of the 3 new exotic helmets, and I'm very excited about that.
Wow. So it's like you have this apparel that you can just put on anytime. Just like, I'm gonna change out my helmet. I got another one I can try.
Yeah, I got a bunch.
Just try
So they all have their own perks.
It's like playing
They all
dress
look
up.
different. They all have their, but they have perks, and that's the thing. So like,
Oh, right.
some, like one of the helmets, like the knucklehead radar, allows you to see the radar even though you're aiming down your weapon. You can still see the radar in the corner of the screen, where everybody else,
They get
you don't
lost
have
when
that.
they're down in there.
Right.
Yep.
So there are pros and cons to all of them, but I still do love Destiny. What's fun though is that I have an awesome wife who loves
do.
Witcher, and so when I'm not playing Destiny, I'm playing Witcher while waiting to play Destiny. So all
to
of you
sleep,
guys
honey.
that thought I wasn't going to be playing any Witcher and I was going to abandon it like the rest,
He's there.
you
Like
guys
the
are
rest.
wrong.
We
'Cause
have-
I don't have a choice but to play it with my wife.
Nice.
Yes.
She wants the story, and so I will continue playing.
Sounds like
But
he's convincing himself.
I am really enjoying it. It is fun. It is. It really does feel like a breath of fresh air. I love a breath of
Flesh
flesh air.
You know, that's actually pretty
little morbid.
that's pretty accurate for The Witcher.
breathed
Yeah.
flesh air before? Yeah. So I just finished in The Witcher. I just finished the mission where you kill you can either kill or save the botchling, right? That
Save it.
little monster was
Little
ugly
fetus.
as
Yeah.
crap. that little dude deserved
make
to
go
be
away.
buried deep.
I was disappointed though because that's the one I got stuck on, right? Fighting the botchling, which is this nasty fetus, or turn it into a lubberkin. I thought the lubberkin was going to be a little better looking. I
Yeah,
expected
you expected kind of like a little
Well,
angel.
transformation
Wait.
and angels
Yeah.
come out and
Wait,
guard the house.
It's called a loverkin.
A lubberkin.
Lubberkin.
Oh.
With a B.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
lubberkin. But
Okay.
I still, it
What?
felt soft, right?
Comes out just as ugly.
Yeah,
It's like,
exact same
ah.
thing.
If it's gonna turn into something that like protects your family, like make it a little dude with a sword, like a little, I don't know,
Dun, 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 dun.
just not a
scary one.
little
Scare me
demon
away.
baby.
Right.
But
no, it was still a
Is,
demon
is
baby.
everyone here familiar with the band Foxy Shazam?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have a song called Teenage Demon Baby, and that song went through my head the entire time I was playing that mission.
That's awesome.
And I really enjoyed
I should have played that. I should play
Outside of that, what have I done? I'm continuing to watch The Americans. If you're not watching The Americans, you should be. It's awesome. It's on FX, and it's about spies during the Cold War that live in America, and they're Russian, and it's awesome.
And their kids have no idea.
It is okay. So season 2 gets a little. They crank up the risque factor just a little bit, which I'm fine with. But this is a show that I
Side boob.
recommended to my father-in-law, who watched it with his daughter.
Oh.
So be careful about who you recommend the show to, because season 2 gets a little bit risque. What adds to the awkwardness is that the scene that I'm referring to
Is between-
involves a daughter walking in on her parents,
Oh, no.
which I think would be extra weird if you were a parent watching the show with your daughter. So that's just, I don't know, just a thought.
No, that's just like, honey, knock.
Yeah. There's a tie on the door.
Yeah. The door's locked. Don't pick the lock.
Child
It's pretty simple. Anyway, that has mostly been my week. I can't think of anything else. I can't think of anything else that I've done.
that's the
I've been
perfect info.
streaming Mondays and Wednesdays. If you want to watch Mondays and Wednesdays, I'll be streaming from about 8:30 at night, or excuse me, 7:30, I guess, Pacific time, 8:30 Mountain time. And I'm streaming for like 4 or 5 hours those 2 nights in a row. Oh, Silicon Valley. Yes. Wags, Glenn. Silicon Valley is amazing. And if you guys aren't watching Silicon Valley, you need to. Season 2 is very
You
funny.
just had to do it. You had to trigger him.
It's so funny. It's a great show. You definitely need to check it out. But from a gaming side, Witcher and Destiny have kind of been taking over my life. I've been playing our indie game of the week, which will be next week.
Yep.
We're going to start doing our indie game of the weeks every other week so that we have enough time to really get into them and kind of feel them out and get a really good sense of what we're dealing with,
Instead of, I like it.
instead of just a quick blurb. But spoiler alert, I don't love Road Not Taken, so I don't know how much
Stay
time I'm going to
tuned
put
next
into it.
week to
There.
find out
Yeah,
why.
we'll
I'm
find out
loving
more
it.
next week. But that wraps it up for me, ladies and gentlemen. So now I'm going to toss it over to Mr. Drew.
I got news.
Is Glenn hitting the play button on the music
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. Let's
Nuts.
do the news music. If I left it up there. And I don't even know if I turned it up so you can hear it. That's what we get. We need to get our little in-eared bits.
So we could be all like super secret spies.
Yep, over. All right, first news of the day. You can experience E3 2015 live in theaters on June 15th. The way that's going to work.
Rated awesome.
I know. Yay. It's free.
And for nerds.
But you have to get tickets. Tickets go on sale probably right after, like, they're probably going to be sold out by the time this gets published. But for you in the chat, they go on sale tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
It would be cool.
Pacific. Yeah. Every state has at least one place showing. Ours is going to be Salt Lake, downtown 33rd Street.
There will be a link in the notes, though, that will show you where things are playing, and you can look up and get tickets.
You can try and find tickets. They're going to sell out really quick, but you can probably find somebody that knows somebody that has a ticket for you. But that's going to be a good deal. I don't know that we're going to attend a theater, but we may work something out where we do a live commentary while we watch it streaming, so that we can join that out.
Someone's
Jeff will be there.
I don't know if I'll be in the
Not Sony, but
I
you'll
doubt
be
I'll be in the conference
LA.
though. So I'll be in LA, and I think that would be really
You'll
cool.
just be like Garfielding.
I'll Skype in and we'll discuss it as we kind of go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something to look forward to for us on June 15th. News number 2, Shuhei Yoshida on Twitter says that there is a Bloodborne DLC coming. An expansion is coming soon. Well, not soon, but more info soon on the expansion. So a lot of people are looking for that. I was amazed to see.
Find new ways to die.
Right, exactly. Because Bloodborne, I played quite a few times before Witcher came out. In fact, I streamed it a few times. It was hard. It was hard, and I felt like it's very similar to Witcher. Like you have this giant inventory, you have all these kind of things.
Ridiculously long load screen.
Except that you lose everything
unless
that
you
you
get there
have.
the very next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. But what got me was streaming through the comments on Yoshida's Yoshi's post. Down there were several people who were like, "Good, because I've finished it 3 times already," or "Good, I've seen all of the endings," and I'm like,
How?
I played like 3 or 4 solid days. I didn't get past like the same running a circle. So good news though. Good expansion coming. So if you like that, you will have more to do. News number 3, and this is probably no surprise, as we've talked about it much in the last 2 weeks, but The Witcher 3 is the biggest UK launch of 2015 so far. Here we are 5 months in. Biggest launch 2015 so far, with 63% of that coming from the PS4, 5% from PCs, and like 30-something coming from Xbox. But it's not surprising, but that's
a big
sales.
number.
That's
It's a big number considering that it's the first time that the series has ever been on PlayStation platforms.
Right, to imagine that 3/4 of it comes from, 2/3.
More, yeah.
That's amazing. Thoughts on that? On the sales numbers? You guys looked at the
Farming Simulator was second.
I kid you not.
Yep,
Farming
it's true.
Simulator was second. And then Grand
Wait,
Theft Auto.
you're being
I'm
serious?
No, it's absolutely
I thought
true.
it was a joke.
No.
It really was.
Very cool.
Farming Simulator.
All right.
Came in second.
It was a
Wait,
joke.
didn't we have a
I'm gonna judge
conversation
you.
about Farm
It beat-
Simulator?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
To
joked
your
about how
face.
silly it would be.
No, I feel like I said something and you made a joke and
Yeah,
made
it
fun
was
of me
about
with
being
it.
a butcher.
Yeah, you wanted to be
Oh, yeah,
a
you-
butcher.
yeah.
You shoot at the Farming Simulator.
I would be a butcher if you could
But
make money being a butcher.
Farming Simulator beat out Grand Theft Auto, FIFA 15,
What is this
Wolfenstein
game?
Blood,
Maybe
Call of
we
Duty
should
Advanced
review
Warfare,
this.
Destiny. I mean,
It's like-
granted, Destiny's still in the top 10 for this year, so that's
Which is
Still.
crazy
Pretty
that it's been
crazy.
out for 8
we're talking
months.
Hate it
UK,
till
we're
you
talking
try
UK
it.
launch, but
Just like drugs.
that is something. So, this is I don't know. There's lots of
It's
news.
cool. It's kind of
All
surprising.
right, here's another one. You ready?
Yeah.
This is Konami. We've had some bad news from Konami in the past, but this news is that Konami is bringing the new Yu-Gi-Oh to PS4 and the Xbox One. So new Yu-Gi-Oh. We've heard that they're trying to steer towards more mobile in the future, but they've announced that they will have new Yu-Gi-Oh pretty soon.
So the reason that this is a very underwhelming piece of
Yeah,
news, right? But the reason that it's significant is that Konami recently came out and talked about how they're going to be stepping away from platforms and consoles, like that they're going to
Which
be
is
pushing
very surprising.
way more heavily towards mobile platforms. And so for them to come out and say this, it's
like-
newsworthy because of what they said before.
Not going
It's
there,
Yu-Gi-Oh,
but it's one more thing.
but
So,
yeah.
like the very last line in the article is we'd rather have Silent Hill, thanks.
Yeah.
A little token.
It's
Yu-Gi-Oh.
like
We'd
Thanks.
much rather have Silent
Silent
Hills.
Hill.
Thanks.
That was a great sign off on that
Yu-Gi-Oh.
one,
it's
for
like
sure.
everything from this
Enjoy.
point out is gonna suck.
So, news number 5 from Twitter's Ashley Johnson, the Vulcan Salute on Twitter, said that she is going to be part of the Telltale Games Tales of the Borderlands episode 3. So
Ashley Johnson's awesome.
That's like a
That's like a
pretty
squeal
cool-
of
Know who
delight.
she is.
Ashley
She
Johnson is-
the
Go ahead.
voice of Ellie
Ellie.
from The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yay.
So now she's in Borderlands. And
Yeah.
Can I ask a
And
question?
like Chris Hardwick is
Yeah.
in there. I mean, they have like a pretty solidly star-studded cast.
Yeah, it's exciting. So can I ask a question though? Did you ever know of voice actors? I mean, maybe I'm in the minority.
Yeah.
Did you know any voice actors prior to Uncharted, but especially The Last of Us? Prior to Uncharted, I didn't know anyone, and I only know Nolan North because I was like blown away by how good Uncharted was. But
Virtually.
The Last of Us was like Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson like blew everything away and like totally I think revolutionized the way that we view voice actors in a game and the way that we view storytelling in video games.
It's like, oh, you're going to voice a character that's not really acting. Oh my gosh, don't even.
Right. And they really like that game proved that idea totally false. But before Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker were in that game, I had never even given a second thought to like who the voice actor was in a game. And I am now like, I look for, when I hear a new game has been announced, I want to know who the actors are. I want to know who's doing the voices.
Does that mean that we're getting older, or is that like, do you think that's like across the gamers getting more?
Our tastes are more refined. We have more things to pick apart now.
Maybe.
See, maybe because Kingdom Hearts had a star-studded cast, like Mandy Moore and all those.
Really?
Yeah, but they can't act.
Yes, yeah, it's true. But see, when I was little and I was watching these Disney shows, and then to see the names that I knew, because the credits are like 2 hours, so I read some of them.
Right.
Like Haley Joel Osment, and like I can't even remember. Yeah, like and all the old school Disney characters. So I've kind of always noticed voice characters before, I think. So it's always something I've been.
I don't know. For me, it's weird. Like, The Last of Us was the point where I was like, I'm going to start paying attention to the people who are voicing these characters. And so that's why I felt like, I don't know, anything Ashley Johnson says counts as news to me.
We'll have a weekly Ashley Johnson tweet update. Cool. All right, last piece of news for today. PS4 exclusive Until Dawn is set for August release. We got a date for that. It's
Speaking of voice actors.
Yeah, right. Yeah. This is gonna be so Supermassive Games. They got a new trailer. It's kind of, is this like the one where they're isolated in a cabin or something?
This is the
like
one
camping?
we played. Yeah, this is the one with Hayden Panettiere that we played at CES.
Yes.
So it's like the kind of slasher film-esque game that I think would probably be pretty appropriate for the LBK Scare crew.
Yes.
When I played this demo, I really liked the demo, so I think it would be great.
I gotta tell you, I was watching the trailer here on the Coming Soon site, and it does slow build up, and then a bunch of cutscenes, a montage of scary stuff, and then it slowly goes into the same kind of faded Until Dawn title screen, and I was dozing off, midday doze, and so I'm just kind of like watching it go, and I was like, and then it builds and stabs you again with like another scare scene. So right as I'm like dozing off, it goes, and I'm like, oh man. So that was my experience with Until Dawn. But it's got a date. Did I say the date? I think it's August 25th. Does that sound right?
Sounds right.
You'll probably see us Scarecrow in that. I think we will play that live.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
I don't like Scare, but I do like playing with you guys.
I
like playing Scare games when it's us together,
when
and I'm not by
when we can
myself.
hold hands and be frightened together.
Yeah, when I will die in a group instead of alone.
Yeah,
when I can pass the controller.
Absolutely.
Right. And that, my friends, is the news.
Then we'll kick it over to Rachel. I don't know if there's music to play, but if there is, we'll give it about 10 seconds. Oh, I heard it. You're good to go.
Woohoo! Okay, so it is a new month, which means there are new PS Plus games for June of 2015. So we're gonna roll off of those.
Right.
Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes for the PlayStation 4.
Awesome. Pause. Pick it up and play it because it's awesome.
And it's free if you're a PlayStation Plus member,
Which you should be.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're not,
It's like
shame on you for real. You're wasting money not spending money,
the money on
Literally, that's a weird thing to say. You're wasting money if you're not spending money on PlayStation Plus. That's just the truth.
Heard it from Jeff.
You heard it here first, folks.
Also will be Skulls of the Shogun Bonafide Edition PS4 for the PlayStation 4. Super Exploding Zoo for the PlayStation Vita and the PlayStation 4.
Pack the hippos full of TNT or something.
We gotta Google that. Like Super Exploding Zoo.
Yeah, you get to choose between C4 and hippos or dynamite and tigers.
This sounds more. Is it rated M?
This could be really morbid.
Fueled by hunger and convenience of the planet, the greedy aliens have landed at the zoo system to feast on delicious eggs.
All right.
That confuses me.
Well, I would.
That is not a description
Maybe
that makes
the aliens
sense.
are blowing up.
Aliens?
The art is funny though. All of them look like their heads are butts.
Well, aliens always have butt.
Don't the heads
the
look
animals?
like the animals look like their heads are butts and dicks?
Well, that's a show.
Yeah.
And they live.
That's
It
a game.
looks like they live in a frozen hot dog.
Phallic
I'm in.
references, anyone?
Exploding Zoo.
I'm in.
Okay. We also have Futuridium EP Deluxe for the PS Vita, the PlayStation 4. Koala Juarez, Gunslinger for the
Juarez.
PlayStation 3. You're accentuating too. And then Cloudberry Kingdom for PlayStation 3.
I think I'll play Cloudberry Kingdom. That sounds
Kind of
fun. To
fun.
me.
It's like something off of like strawberry
It
shortcake.
sounds like a
I
flavor.
think that's why I think
Yeah.
it rings
Yeah.
true to me.
All right.
fun.
So for the PlayStation 4, we have Arcade Archives, Crazy Climber, Arcade Archives, Ninja Kid,
Say that again 4 times fast.
Arcade Archives.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Arcadia: The Complete Tale, Badland Game of the Year Edition, Magica 2, Roundabout, and Ultra Street Fighter 4.
Yay!
Not just Street Fighter, but Ultra.
Yes. PlayStation 3, we have Badland Game of the Year Edition as well, Weird Park, The Final Show, and then for the Vita, we have Badland Game of the Year Edition, Invisimals, The Resistance, Octodad Deadliest Catch, and Vitamin Z. For the digital classics, we have Mega Man 8.
It's kind of a big day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yee.
Any of those look like things you guys want to play?
I'm excited for the June PlayStation Plus stuff.
Yep, I'm excited for the PS Plus stuff.
It's all good. A lot of unknowns here, but I think this may be the time when I pick up the Metal Gear again.
Metal Gear's cool.
Because
So
it's
I
been
played
since like
through Ground.
1985. I
I
think.
played through
You could,
Ground
like-
Zeroes, I guess, like a month after it came out, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very, very well done. It's an interesting take, though, on the Metal Gear series, because traditionally Metal Gear Solid is not an open world game at all, right? Like, it's pretty linear. You have a direction to be heading. You have a story that's unfolding as you head in that direction. And so I'm cautiously optimistic about this, because I love open world games. I love and appreciate a really good open world game. Metal Gear Solid is one of the few exceptions where I'm like, I like linear storytelling, you know? I like something that brings me down a path. And so I'm hoping they're able to still keep that spirit alive that has been kind of cultivated through the last, 4 games. So we'll see what happens. But I think this is this is another example of a studio releasing a teaser prior to a game coming out. So it's very similar to PT, which ironically both of these are from Konami. So it's interesting.
Trying it again.
And I hope it's a trend that picks up, because I really like getting a taste for the game
Yeah.
before you actually
Yeah.
get the game. Like,
Only if
Yeah,
they
that is
follow
nice.
through.
yeah, don't drop the
Yeah,
ball
right.
and not follow through.
Only, if you don't bail
That's a
out.
very good point. But that wraps up our new releases, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
so for today's show, guys, since we're not doing an indie game of the week, we have a couple things we wanted to kind of get into. One of them was a discussion about strategy guides, whether or not they're relevant today, whether or not they should be considered like cheating or like skirting kind of the intent of the game.
Gray area
Right.
of
What
the
do you-
world.
And in this modern day of 2015, like, do they make sense anymore?
Right, kind of how it came to be. I decided on this topic because I was sitting in the cat cave, and we were talking about Legend of Zelda and how difficult some of the games have been, and I was like, yeah, I think I used a strategy guide for Wind Waker and so, and then they belittled me.
Really?
They belittled me for using a strategy.
Call them out. Who was it?
It's fan.
Devin Sanders, and I think Fan might have been there.
It's freaking jerks.
But when I was younger, it was always looked down upon. You use a strategy guide, you're cheating. But that's kind of like the little kid mentality, So
Right.
I understood. But as I got older, I felt like I'm a completionist. I need the strategy guides.
Yeah,
And I need to know where everything is if I want to get everything. So I had erased that thought into the back of my mind, and I thought it was well accepted. But once I brought it up, and these kids are my age, and I was like, you guys are being haters right now. Have you never used a strategy guide before in your life? So I
Have you
guess
never fully
I
experienced a
know.
game?
Have you never collected everything ever and spent hours and no? So that's how that can be. I use them all the
So
time.
strategy guide, we're talking about just hardback books or just online
whatever.
walkthroughs?
I'd rather start with hardbacks first and then go into
Because they have evolved,
digitals.
right? Like
Yeah.
traditionally, a strategy guide, you're thinking of like a Prima guide that you buy at GameStop when
Yeah.
you pick up your game.
You get
Which apparently they
30%
won't buy
off.
back.
So
Which
we
is like
have
10% off if you buy it with the game, and then we will just watch you suffer.
I mean, so things have changed as the internet has developed, right? Because now YouTube and walkthroughs and
walkthroughs,
Twitch
playthroughs.
streams, all of those things can kind of substitute for a strategy guide. But let's go back to the strategy guide idea for a second. I have a feeling that Robin has used a lot of strategy guides in the gaming that she does. So why don't you go first, Robin?
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. No, I have a bookshelf. I've got like 20-ish guides, possibly 25. But it was something like I wanted to play the game through first myself and just like, oh, this is kind of the basic gist of the game. I've played through the majority of the story. Okay, I'm good with it. If I didn't have that guide, I would have completely missed like the side story for like Final Fantasy VII when you can get the secret character Yuffie, and I would have never done that. It's like go in the forest and fight these things multiple times until this thing magically appears.
Right.
And yeah, I think that if like you get the game and you get the strategy guide and it's like getting you through the whole thing, I think it kind of cheapens the experience. But I think that if you're like, I'm stuck, I'm angry, I don't know what to do, yeah, it does kind of deflate that sense of, I finally beat this part, yay me. But at the same time, I don't want to get so angry at a game that's so good in all other respects and just like rage quit. It's like, I can't get past this point. I'm just going to like walk away for a couple months and try it again later. I don't want to lose that story. I don't want to lose that momentum.
Right. So for me, the strategy guides that I've bought have been the games that are just massive and that would be like impossible to complete without it. And what's funny is that they would say that like, based on what you said about the friends that have said this to you, like, I would make the argument that some of the most hardcore gamers are the ones that use strategy guides. Like the people that have probably the most platinum trophies. You're not going to ever get a platinum trophy in a game like Borderlands or Fallout or any of the Elder Scrolls games unless you have a strategy guide to help you find all the collectibles and all the different things. It would literally be, I mean, it would be a nightmare, right? And as we all grow up, it's more relevant than ever, or it makes more sense than ever to be using one so that, like you said, you don't lose momentum. Like, I don't have a million hours a day to play video games. Like, there are a lot of people that have tons and tons of time to be playing. And granted, I play a lot of video games. Like, I have a lot of time because I have a pregnant wife who's going to bed early, and so and I have a very patient wife who's cool with me having a hobby that involves being here talking to all of you today. But that being said, like, if I get stuck at a place and I can't figure out where to go, there's no faster way to kill my desire to continue. And so that's where, especially now, like, YouTube has become such a valuable tool.
Right.
To be able to go in and say, hey, I need a strategy for beating whatever character, or I need to find all the collectibles in Assassin's Creed Unity. Show me where they all are. You can literally have a YouTube video take you step by step through the entire thing. And so I've really enjoyed the progression that strategy guides have made from, a hardback book to what they are today online. But there's also kind of a charm to these old strategy guides. Like, last time when I played Skyrim, I didn't use any YouTube guides. I was using a hardback, Prima strategy guide so that I could underline and highlight the things that I was missing, thumb through. Like, it made it.
Pictures, though.
And what was interesting is, for me, like, I feel like I get way more out of the game when I do that because I'm finding every nook and cranny.
Right.
And so for me, like, I dig it. I think they're great. What about you, Drew?
I never had enough time, I think, on a game where I had to have the strategy. Like, I had time to be like, I'm gonna go through this over and over. I've always kind of ADD'd my way to the next game and the next game. And if I complete it, it's great. But I've never really driven through something that hard, except for there was one that I actually got tempted to do this on, and I can't remember what it was now. I must have moved on to something else. But for me, it's been internet, like, helps, right? So rather than having a Prima strategy guide or a hardback, for me, it's YouTubing, like, strategy for what was the witch I was just killing, the witch hunt guy, Neil Hill, right? Or the wraiths, like how to kill wraiths. Just because I felt like after I had done something 30 times in a row, I was missing something.
You're doing something wrong.
Right? Or I obviously missed a tip, a tutorial or something. And so I felt like I could Google that and still be at peace with myself, because somebody would be like, make sure you use, whatever, slow magic traps.
Right.
Make sure you use, do a lot of dodging and hitting. And that's where I felt like, okay, I've seen somebody do it now with this strategy. I'm going to try that. So for me, it comes down to those hard parts in games where I just can't figure out how to get something or where to go. With Destiny, it was Eyes of Crota. Where do I find this guy? Because the Eyes of Crota, Hand of Crota, and whatever, I could not find them on my own, and so
and that's true of
YouTube
Ghosts as well, right?
Right, and for me, it's not about completion. It's just when I hit something so many times and I need it to go forward, then I feel like I can check on something.
Yeah.
My little girls have actually taken to too quickly jumping into look it up on the internet, Dad. Let me go get the iPad. I'll look it up.
This.
Right? So yeah, they'll always look for it.
Right,
And I'll be
instead
like,
of
no.
problem solving, there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll quickly stop and be like, no. We still have a few more tries in us left, so we'll keep trying stuff on our little games.
So I'm curious with your friends, though. Are they? I mean, do they use YouTube?
Fuchsias? Yes. No. I don't think they do.
Because that's weird to me.
I'm pretty sure they just played games.
Like, that's weird to me that you wouldn't.
Maybe
be
they didn't consider that. I don't know. I didn't ask them because normally
it would be.
it's just,
I think it would be interesting to see what they said. Like,
what they
like
qualify.
if they play Destiny, right? So KT just finished collecting all of the ghosts in Destiny. There's all these dead ghosts scattered throughout the game that you would never find. Like,
I found like 3 random
you would never
ones,
ever find unless you knew where to look. They're all out of the way, and a lot of them are in places that like you can't. It doesn't make sense that they're there, and it doesn't look like there's a way to get there unless you watch one of these guides. So there are websites designed specifically to help you track and locate and collect all these, and they actually tell you, like, it syncs up with your PlayStation Network account, and it says you have found 32 of the 400 or whatever number it is ghosts that exist in Destiny, and you found 6 of the 12 on Mars, and you found 4 of the 14. It's like Ghost Tracker or something. KT knows what it is.
I'm not finding all.
But like, I
6.
wonder if they would count that as a strategy, because to me, that's just a new age. That's like a new media strategy guide, right?
Transmedia.
Yeah.
Right? Take it to
Yeah.
The problem is, I think, because I used to do the hard books when I was younger, but as I eventually I found Game Winners, and that's where they list all the different facts in the walkthroughs, and that's kind of started worrying. That's where I kind of went to, and I would bookmark my favorite one, and I would just keep that by my couch, and then I kind of stopped doing that. Now I'm kind of where Drew is, where I'll try and do it, and if I can't do it, I YouTube it. The only problem that I found with YouTube is that sometimes you don't find the right one, and then sometimes it's a 16-minute video, and you have to find the one spot you need.
I've watched a lot of videos on double speed.
Yeah.
Bruh,
So I'm like,
smart.
go.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever print out the old? Oh my gosh!
For Animal
No?
Crossing.
So
wow. No,
like
no.
Cheat Code Planet.
Hell no.
Cheat Code Planet used to have like wikis.
Yeah.
that
I did it
were-
for Animal Crossing. Not gonna lie, it was like a little binder with like 3 hole
That's
punch.
pretty recent.
I would highlight everything that I caught.
But what? You have to have strategy for. I thought people just moved in and moved out. Like, does it tell you?
There's stuff
and
to
then
collect.
you have to like make sure that you play on specific days.
Oh, really?
And
Holidays are a thing.
and how to catch the specific fish.
Gotta find the ghost.
So I
Arrange
haven't
the
printed one out
room
in
the
a
way
while,
that
but
needs to go.
I remember being in
I
junior
had
high.
it tabbed.
I remember being in junior high and going to the
So
public
professional.
library because they would let you print for free. And I would print, like, I printed the strategy guide for Final Fantasy VII.
And that was half of the Amazon forest.
Yeah, that was like a solid 300 pages.
Wow,
and I
impressive.
would be like compiling. And then what was difficult was like tabbing them so I knew where to look when I was at certain things. Because like most of them were like user uploaded strategy guides. Like they weren't these clean, like pretty prima guides.
The little
They were,
ASCII
like,
ones.
They were
I
like
do love the ASCII
ghetto
ones, though. I do love that.
Word documents. And
And then I
so you're
wonder
going
who
through and
had
like
the time to
tabbing them
build
all
that.
so I know where to look. Like I actually have really fond memories of doing that. I was like searching for the right strategy guide, like, oh, Final Fantasy X, like 300 pages. I need to funnel through this and filter it to make sure that it's going to make sense for the way that I like to study a guide.
And then reading that description, that thick description of
Oh,
like
yeah.
now you need to move like 3 places this way and don't go in the second door now you have to go back into
Yeah.
like after
I
you've
can
done this
appreciate that.
thing.
It was awesome. I loved that. That to me is like one of the things that like I remember as being like special
Like
about
that's
growing
love.
up.
That's
Yeah.
love there.
So I don't know.
Another thing people have mentioned is artwork and stuff. And like the posters that come. So I have a bunch of posters in my room, and a lot of them have been like maps from Assassin's Creed games that I've collected, Kingdom Hearts stuff, Red Dead Redemption.
So that's one thing I'm actually like. So I'm a digital guy, right? Like we've talked about this before, that I collect. I like digital stuff because I'm kind of sick and tired of having all this physical crap in my house. And I also like that I can share my digital library with a friend, so he and I separate purchases and share games. I think that's awesome that I can do that. And I like that the money I spend goes to developers. I really like that. But man, I miss that like your Witcher game came with a map.
Right.
That sucks.
Like you can put it on your wall?
Mine did not come with a map, and so
I didn't go through it.
Do you think it has like a high-res version online? I can print it off, send it to Kinko's or something?
Possibly, but like that sucks that I don't have a map.
I know, right?
It's kind of freaking frustrating that I paid the same price and I don't.
You don't get a map
because I miss that stuff. I do miss having that kind of stuff.
So yeah,
those are my thoughts.
Artwork I totally see too. Just like in the game, like my Kingdom Hearts strategy guide is my favorite one because you just get to see the pretty little heartless and stuff like that.
The thing that I like about strategy guides now is that they aren't really strategy guides; they're more like art books.
Right.
Like they've really shifted, because the Final Fantasy guide, it was like, here is a screenshot, description. Here's where to find the things. Things are highlighted. But then like they have. Like now there's like entire like inclusive bestiaries and going through each specific weapon, and like they go into extreme detail about how things are built, how things look, the specific designs for the characters even. Like here's like a 4-page spread of this single character, and it's really interesting because there's more art in it than content. It'll get you through, but there's far more artwork in there than there was when strategy guides were just rolling out.
Cool. Excellent. Well, I think we could agree that we all appreciate them for different reasons, but we don't consider them cheating.
Right.
Tell your friends.
Does anyone in chat? It doesn't look like anyone in chat does either. I think it makes sense. Like, you don't want to get caught up. You don't want to lose the momentum like you mentioned. And to be able to continue a story, it's one thing to pound your head against the wall for like 10 minutes trying to figure something out, or even an hour or two. It is another thing altogether to be like, I've been playing for 4 hours and haven't gotten anywhere because I can't figure out what the hell I'm doing. Right. That's really frustrating. And there's no faster way to kill a game and to make me just wash my hands of it and be like, I'm done. And how sad is that? Like, if you're a developer, if you're putting a game together and putting your blood, sweat, and tears into this thing for 2 or 3 years, to have someone get hung up at a spot where it's like, if you just stepped back 20 feet and looked to the right, there was a path. It was a little hidden, but it was still, you could still see it. So, so I do want to mention this. One of my very favorite, and this is silly, but I feel like it was Final Fantasy X. Is Final Fantasy X where you're breeding chocobos?
You're doing that in 7.
Was it 7? And I can't remember if it was 7 or 10.
10.
But
no, it's 7 that you're breeding them.
Okay, then it was 7. So that was like that section to try and make a freaking gold chocobo to get across the desert.
Oh my gosh.
That was a freaking nightmare. And if I hadn't had a strategy guide, I would never have been able to do it. I never beat. Was it Emerald Ruby?
Ruby, and...
Yeah, it was Ruby that was across the desert, right? I remember that from a Seb versus Evan song. So you have to cross the wasteland on a golden chocobo to get the ruby. But that, dude, I have like a soft spot in my heart for old library prints of, and I'd like throw them in a 3-ring binder. I had 3-ring binders in my house of strategy guides. Anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been our topic of the day. And before we go, Drew has a little bit of something he'd like to share with you about a Patreon.
I think we have a big announcement we want to make for everybody. We have decided to launch ourselves a Patreon. We love what we do. We do it every week, and we do it for you. We've done this for over a year. Can you believe that? You. Over a year weekly, we've gotten together because we love you. So we decided to launch a Patreon to see if we can't get to another level, right? To kind of boost what we're doing and make what we're doing a little bit more but glamorous, grateful, like just fun. So we'd stop having to borrow all this stuff.
So part of it is
Let me explain. Oh yeah.
Part of it is like it looks like we have a really great setup, and we do, but we do because it's all borrowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
We want to be able
that's the
to
point of
we want to
this.
be able to stand on our own for a lot of things. So Patreon, if you don't know about it, if you understand crowdfunding, it's similar to that in that you can fund projects or back projects, but this is backing artistic and incremental. Instead of one giant project that you hear Kickstarter, a lot of people know about Kickstarter, and you back a project and it's like that one thing gets done. Patreon is the idea that you have renewable items or things that they do. Podcasts, perfect episodes, videos specifically, like those things are backed by people, supported by people. You become a patron of that group. So we are launching a Patreon. If you go to Patreon, patreon.com/LittleBigKast, you'll see our page there. And essentially what we have there are milestones that we'd like to hit. So we have a couple of milestones as a group that we would like to hit, so that when our certain sponsorships reach a certain point, you can look at all the different milestones that we can, upgrades
Right.
for us, right? It's like upgrading.
We
we're
want to
leveling
level up.
We want to level up.
We want to level up
Yeah.
because of you.
Yeah. And to do that, Patreon allows us to give you rewards. So for just quickly, I'll run down the rewards and places and levels that you can back. It's very, very simple, but at $1 a month, and that's not much because you get 4 shows. We do this 4 times in a month, sometimes 5. If the calendars. So for $1 a month, we'll throw you on a special list of our Twitter list of our favorite patrons. $1 a month. So you basically get to be a part of what we do and support us, and really that's like pennies a day. We would love that support. And for $3 a month, we're gonna give you even more content. Right there on Patreon, you'll be able to log in and see behind the scenes chats. You'll be able to know when we're live more often. You'll get behind the channel chats. I mean, just extra layers of stuff. I may even send you a picture of me topless if you're really a good
No, we won't.
patron.
We won't let him do that.
You won't.
We won't let
But
him.
we have more. Here's one I'm really excited about. At $5 a month, we're gonna do a monthly show called the Faux Show. We've already
I'm
started
excited.
eating pho as often as possible. But we go out and sometimes we don't chat games. We just hang out and chat and discuss things. We will be recording that and sharing that. So every month you get a bonus show of the Little Big Cast crew being entertaining at the pho show. And that's $5 a month. I don't know who wouldn't go
Yeah.
without a latte for a day just to help us reach that goal. So
And feed me.
And
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I like eating this, and I'm in a really good mood when I've had my
Make Robin
necessary
happy.
caloric intake.
Yep, make Robin happy. So then we have other levels. So the other pledges, you can pledge $8 and you'll get all kinds of extra content. We'll have the Faux Show plus more shows. We'll have all kinds of specialty things for you. And then we even added a few like special bonus places. For $20 a month, we will let you choose one of our topics. There's only 4 slots for that, so be fast if that's where you want to support us. You can choose one of the topics that we talk about. Maybe you want to know our opinion on something each month. Maybe you want to just, within reason, right?
Right.
Something.
There are some things. And then at $50 a month, we will let you join us for a show. You can be a guest on the show. But you can read that all on the Patreon page. We're pretty excited about it, and we're excited to kind of launch that, to tell your friends and family. This is a way that you can support us. We really love seeing everybody in chat. We love chatting with everybody and having the back and forth. We love our Twitter followers and our fans. We recently launched our Facebook page. And in a week, we have gotten over 100 fans on our Facebook page, right? Which is awesome.
Thank you, Jeff.
But we'd love a place for you to kind of throw back. And it's kind of, I'm trying not to be like too humble, but without being, self-promoting too much. We need your support. We can't level up without some help.
Right, and I do want to mention, though, like, regardless of what you decide to do, and we get that some people can and some people can't support us, regardless of what you do, we're going to keep doing this. Like,
right, you'll still get your weeklies.
This is something that for us is cathartic and fun.
Cathartic is a good answer.
And honestly, like, we love being able to hop in chat and hang out with you guys. We want to make sure that we create opportunities to do more of that, and so that's what Patreon is. It's an opportunity for you to help us and for us to hopefully throw a little bit more content your way. Yep. And if you can't support us, that's cool. Like, we get it.
Just be here in the chat. We love having you.
Be in the chat. Join us in the chat. Like that, honestly, for us, that's the most important thing, is that you're here talking with us every week. And then you hit the follow button if you like it. So that, ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap up episode 55. So I'm gonna go. I've written a new outro. I'm gonna test out today, everybody. Is that okay?
Let's try it.
This has been episode 55 of the Little Big Cast, the official PlayStation podcast of the KT Data Network. As always, we would love for you to connect through us through Facebook, Twitter, and thelittlebigcast.com. Not the Little Big Cast, just littlebigcast.com. If you're watching on Twitch, please hit the follow button so you can always get the latest and greatest from the LBBK crew. I'm trying to read way too fast than I can possibly read.
Racing.
And if you are listening, feel free to throw up a review on iTunes. We would love that. That would make us happy.
Yeah.
And now, for the last time today, I am Jeff Hawks at Jeff Hawks.
I'm Rachel Hernandez at Pirate Rachel with the 3 instead of the E.
This is...
I'm Robin Hazlett at Robin Hazlett on Twitter.
And wrapping it up, it's...
Night 20, KNITE 20.
He didn't say his name, though, and that's Drew.
You can call me Master
I'm Drew.
Anyway, thanks for listening, and good night.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
All right, if you're on Twitch right now, wow, Jeff writes this crap down. I wrote it down once, KT.
Just practicing it.
I wrote it down once, KT, you jerk.
Don't forget to check
Anyway,
out I'll send the link.
I'm gonna write an intro. If you are in the chat right now, feel free, seriously, to hang out and chat with us. We're gonna be here for the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Yep, my kids are on their way, so we're gonna do our intro and move on.
On today's show, hey chat, help me write the intro. On today's show, what did we talk about that was interesting?
Think about it tonight.
Yeah. Show title. What do you want the show title to be?
What did Drew say anything funny on today's show? Drew propositions himself.
At this point, for different reasons.
Drew sells himself.
Maybe we shouldn't.
Drew propositions himself. Anything else?
I play Pokemon.
Don't forget to check out the Patreon. Yeah, I'll add that
7
later.
hours.
Thanks, Nick. We'll get it. We'll get it.